Well, we dusted off. Well, we're working on dusting off Philly. So let's see what I got for you, Tucker. I mean, math, if being congruent, should have the effect of its field theory. It exists, just doesn't boil a bag of meat. Okay. Figure it out.
Good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson tonight. Jamal Cole is a political candidate. He's running for Congress in the 1st District.
I heard lots of them. You know, they come through with like a special MRE deal, or you're on the team in the file cabinet, you cut it off, you do your own thing with it, Black Rifle coffee,
when someone shot
ball shaving gear. You know, the American City in Crisis is anything in that area. If I go with the filtered plague doctor,
Cole narrowly escaped being shot a second time. Some unknown assailant opened fire.
We're going to level the curve. We're going to find out the pattern, figure it out by IQs, make the workforce jewels do whatever you need to do. And then you got to, well, the Common Core goes, well, because the war zone on the filter starts to be the system in the school system of a very long game of chess.
And living there, all of a sudden, is that dangerous.
Now, you have to think about what the Common Core is by value. We need to make sure that by having a grade in New York and a grade California, a grade in Ohio, any city and any school, Hancock to
just before midnight one day last
Cleveland,
year,
or you know, whatever.
Typed a furious note to her senior staff. She was upset about crime.
No, you shouldn't, University. You shouldn't be limited by that system.
Of offenses in progress, evidence of clear
and at that
and
point,
danger to
you'd say
the
that is the city in crisis. Any one of them that come up on that. So you put it in Plague Incorporated and run the numbers with what cities have the epidemic or don't have the epidemic, or have the terms YF over X, BUBV for relative acceleration and field theory equation. And then you can turn those into the photons. That's the crisis. It's cosmologically a crisis by terms. This is where I've heard it in the sector before. And if I did the list on its search, it would bring up different types of paradoxes or cases, X, Y's, and Z's that define the limits inside of what is calculus that even GPT is going to figure out some index of machine learning. When I do the books,
meanwhile, there's another crisis in
when I figure out here's your feet overhead position, you'll do this is an index, but you'll do a bunch of them during a day. That's a hot spaghetti noodle, just fusion at the end of the day of the first ROTC, and then you're over 5 years. And you sit in the office with all that information in the desk to Common Core that, and you have to go, well, what's my training course for a guy on the mill? Now, this is what we've done before, but you're stretching it out for a kid in kindergarten to a master's degree, at least in college. So I'll catch you with different variances on what that form looks like. And while you want to start police, EMT, firefighter, because the time curve on what those things are, yes, they are congruent, because the math at an X step keeps it relative like that. You're going to need to know who's ring kiss first. Obviously, if you just checked in the mill, it doesn't matter if you're a master. You need to know what buttons in the system, because they are not the same stone mill. It's crisis in cosmetology, but you're going to have that variable make perfect sense to topology, timelines, regional shipping, where they started, when they started in eschatology, esoterics, what are divergent problems that may have presented. Hurricane Bob on Florida, maybe not be Hurricane Bob in America or in New York.
But they murdered him anyway in the middle of the day.
And so that's going to create a differential that would, if I added that value in a photon to toggle or switch that equation beta in some way, photons that adjust the example into the case that says this is the good faith, the string theory, data compression, that if you add it into this, we'll make 7 for the Laplacian if you do 7 for the Laplacian. That's how we teach it. There's a GOAT path to get it. It doesn't need to be 5, it doesn't need to be 170, 1 over 72, pi 2. Those are useful. That is a rabbit track. Not a deer track. They are going to do different things. BUBV.
Well, no one in authority in Chicago
and yes, 2 different rabbits are going to have BUBV running from a bear. BUBV. They're still all congruent in the same standard. But these are the photons that adjust into that data compressed system. So that was a long string, but it had one unit in which 1 and 0 still output the value. We know this to be true. We know this to be true. They're here for a reason. The overall answer of the demand would be the flag. Fill in the blank.
Now, in one of
those are the things calculus prevents system. Why or why not? In the strong force, weak force, electromagnetism, gravity, Carl Sagan law, Yeah,
So this might be
photon,
a perfect
gluon,
moment
W
for
boson,
those
Z
kids
boson,
and the adult
to
nihilists who push
why
them to
those
do
zeros,
what they
and you say,
did,
well,
to admit
here's
they were
their answer,
completely
right-hand
wrong
roll,
and learn
home zero
something.
over that
Cops are
three-base
not the
matrix.
problem.
It's going to triangulate
Have
it
they
down
conceded
into
that?
the
Not that
negative
we're aware of.
points on a mere
Nor
high
the city
value. The
officials who
best
banned cops
person
from
that I
conducting foot
have to
chases
do
admitted
that
that what
number is
they
going to hit
did
in
resulted
one
in the
unit.
deaths of
The best
citizens.
system. And we use that all over the place in the
We've been
soldier
watching
territory
carefully. As
we
far as we
have.
can tell, only
Defense style.
one person
Why do you
in
do
authority at the
PT?
University of Chicago
Because it's a
understood
calculus.
what was
Why do
happening
you
at the time
do
and said so.
Q25 general promotions on officers, identifying what a fucking rabbit is and who needs that job criteria in the calculus? Because I don't know, A plus X equals what?
That results in people getting killed. So you'll
AU,
accept that.
AG
And
on
for
the
crime of
thing,
saying it,
maybe
he
a
was
black
fired
body
from his
radiation,
job
a
at the Chicago
Maxwell's
Fed.
AU, hit high
The University
number
of
on
Chicago began an
inside of the
investigation
lens
into him
of
for his
1% angle,
Hundreds
0%
of
angle
economists
of
signed a
all the
petition to have
reactions that
Harold
can
Ulick
make in dark
removed
matter,
as
dark
the editor of a
energy.
major economics journal. What do those use have to do with
Those are
economics? Nothing.
parallels. We just use those.
But they
What would
joined
have
the
been
mob
the dark
anyway.
energy?
One of
What
the
was the little
jackals in
bell
that mob, by
flash
the
and
way,
it hit
was
the
none
light
other
on a
than
sensor
Janet
that
Yellen.
says
You may
the
recognize
thing
the name
that it
because
is
she's now our
just
Treasury
an
Secretary.
Euler's number. It
Yellen
could
wrote
be
this
a
Soviet
stone
little
mill.
statement at
Here
the
is
time,
a
quote,
example
"It would be
of
appropriate
what
for the
they
University of
did when they
Chicago,
saw
which is
some
the publisher
screw
of
bolts
the
making an
journal
IH
Political
irrational
Economy,
sensor base by
to
training a
review
person.
Ulick's
Or
performance
fuck,
and
the
suitability
AI
to continue as
program that
editor,
is the cameras in that
because he
spot
opposed getting rid of the police.
all the time,
To this
AI
day,
robot
notably,
toss you
Janet
out
Yellen
of the
has never
building, sonny.
retracted that statement or apologized for urging the mob to
It's like
convert
doing it in
an
the stone mill. I have
innocent
no
man for
problem.
telling the
I do it
truth.
as a log
That's fine
cant
with
guy.
her. It's fine with her
AI
now.
chin pin chips into
The
this
other
system. This is where
activists
the
who
phone
targeted
calls
Harold
come in.
Ulick have
This is
admitted
what
they
the
were
case
wrong.
was.
No,
No
they
bullshit,
haven't.
no hearsay.
So
I
after
knew
the
those
recent
problems
shootings
kept
near
coming up in
campus,
the
Harold
area,
Ulick
and I
made
gotta
this
have a camera
request
over
to
you
the
to
university
cover the
community, quote,
POV for those
"If anyone
systems, because
still
that's
wants
what
to
cops
defund the
did
police, please do
inside
me
the
a
system
favor
to
and stay
cover
away
their
from
own
Hyde
ass
Park."
and the security of it. Of course it
But of course
fucks
that's not
people
what's
over that
happening.
don't
No one's
understand it, who
apologized.
don't
No
fucking
one's
use the
learned
number the way it's
anything.
supposed to come off,
The
because it
politicians
would be
ruining
God.
the state of
And it would be
Illinois
pretty
and
simple
Chicago
in there.
demand
Wouldn't matter
above
who
all
the
that you worship
fuck was
them
on top of the
like
world.
gods as people die around them.